kind of after my mom died, we were in Wilderness Park or whatever it's called. I don't even know. It's some national park in Nebraska. And it's huge, 10 miles about of forest. And we went onto this trail called the Jamaica Trail. We made a little ways, just like a mile or two, and then we saw this huge fucking indention in the ground, like a huge footprint, like perfect, huge, super deep footprint. And we did not know. We questioned, we're like, what the fuck? That's so random. Like, how would that appear there? Because it was raining out super hard, so it had to have been done that day probably in the mud. But we don't know how the fuck something would have left that, you know. I don't know how to explain, but we took a picture with my foot next to it, and I wear size 12, so I wear a good size shoe, and my feet are honestly pretty fucking big, and it was not even close to how big this print was. So anyways, we continued for a long ways of hours, man, probably 3-4 hours. We were hiking, we went off the trail, and then, like I said, it was raining out super hard. We had to cross this like really long stream that was very, very kind of rapidy. It was like going pretty quick. It must have been a river. Anyways, we had to cross that. We got soaked, you know, and we went into a part that not a lot of people probably went into and stuff. And we went pretty far, and we found this little area that was still next to this creek or river or whatever. And it was weird. There's like a pile of these clams that had been broken open and eaten. And then there's like half-eaten fucking deer carcasses and like a fully gone deer carcass, and then this like stick structure. So all these sticks up on this other tree, like kind of propped on a tree, that we saw, and we're like, okay, someone is here. Like, this has to be a homeless person living out in these woods, eating clams and deer and shit, and somehow living under this weird little tree structure thing. So we turned around and left because we got super fucking spooked. Anyways, years later, now that I'm seeing all these shows and watching these documentaries on this shit, I'm like, oh shit, we straight up found a fucking Bigfoot like area. He's probably a lone Bigfoot, but the clams, that's a known thing, I guess, with Bigfoots. People even seen in like Kansas, which is near Nebraska, and even Oklahoma, them eating clams, so that must be one of their food sources in the Midwest. And then deer. They fucking love deer, and there was like 3 deer right there. And then the stick structure on the fucking tree, they do that shit all the time, I guess, and that's huge, especially in like California and even Colorado, where I live now. There's like 10 miles of area in the mountains where there's these weird stick structures everywhere. So I'm like, fuck, dude, I wish I would have known that, you know, 10, 11 years ago, because I would have fucking, we should have gone farther in, bro.